from and comparatively to this year. Burglary went from 8 last year to 11 this year, which is a 37.5% increase. Criminal mischief and damaged property went from 12 last year to 15 this year. That's a 25% increase. Larceny went from 7 to 15, showing a 114% increase. Theft from motor vehicle went from 9 to 13, a 44% increase. And motor vehicle theft went from 15 to 34, which is a 126% increase. So it looks like we have seen some increase from last year to this year on those specific crimes. A lot of those motor vehicle thefts we're seeing related to puffing, as we always do. I mean, the puffers just kill us. I wish people would just stop letting their cars run in their driveways, because they just are the most opportune item for theft for these guys to go around driving neighborhoods, and they just see they see the exhaust and they just jump out and jump in your car and they're gone. So be sure that you're not leaving your cars running. And if you see your neighbors, their cars running, be sure to get over there and tell them to shut it off. And it's also illegal to do as well. But more importantly, you get your car stolen. Does anybody have any questions about those? No? Any other questions? Tough crowd.
I was gonna say, we're being pretty easy.
All right. Well, if nobody has anything, hope you guys have a good rest of your meeting, and I'll see you again on the next one.
Thank you so much for coming.
Right.
We really, really appreciate it.
No problem. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.
Yep. See you next time. Great. And then if you guys do have questions, you're like, oh, I should have asked that, definitely reach out to either Jackie or I, and we can connect with District 4. And yeah, there's always opportunities to ask questions later for sure. So with that, we have Anita and Jolyn on the call with City Council District 7. If you guys would like to give any updates, we'd love it.
Hello, Ruby Hill. Thanks for having me tonight. I will say, Megan and Ken, you look like you're straight out of some painting or something there. I expect one of you to have a pitchfork in that setup you got there. I think I'll just have a little bit of an update and then happy to answer any questions. I just wanted to give a huge shout out and thank you to everybody who helped with the vaccine clinic that we were able to put on with the 1,000 shots from the state at Costco. It really took a lot of work to get the word out and to get people from the zip codes in Ruby Hill there, and also to some of the other ones. I know we've got a lot of Ruby Hillers at some of the ones also happening on the other side of our fence in District 2, Council District 2. So thank you for all the help spreading the word and getting people out. It was really an amazing day, and really, I think for me, kind of a turning point to see the light at the end of the tunnel as people were pulling up and in tears and getting their shot finally. And now all the news keeps saying that we're going to continue to see a ramp up in the number of shots available, and they keep now moving up the date by which it'll be available to everyone. In the meantime, we still have a few weeks left where we are going through, the state has phases and not everyone is eligible, but there is another vaccination clinic happening not far away this weekend. And so if you know someone in the neighborhood, because Ruby Hill is again a zip code that is showing that we are lagging behind in the percent of people who are getting vaccinated. And so Ruby Hill is again on the list for prioritization. It looks like right now the qualifications are, I just had it pulled up, 50 plus, and then also grocery store workers, restaurant workers, and teachers, if any teachers haven't already gotten it. So if you know anybody who fits that criteria, there are still spaces available now. I think they're filling up pretty fast. And so I will drop in the chat This one is not being run directly by our office, but by some of you might have met Tate Carpenter, who's one of the other staffers in our office, and she has volunteered at I think 7 of these things now, and now I think has been put in charge of this one with some other people. And so she is actually running registration on that, and so I'll drop her email address in the chat, and you can send anybody to her to get signed up. That is really at this point the only thing that my brain is big enough to think of for an update right now, because it's vaccines, and surviving the snowstorm here. I was very fortunate in that I was able to volunteer last night and go out with the residential plow crew, and they actually gave me a plow and let me plow some streets. There's a program that's actually done by city employees, not all of them who normally drive the plows. The residential plows are smaller, and it turns out any city employee can sign up for that. And we just have such an amazing group of folks who run the really big plows where you need special licenses for, all the way down to people from all across the city, from different departments who volunteer. And it's a 12-hour shift that starts at 3 p.m. and goes till 3 a.m. And I was able to work all night with some of those guys who really care about trying to get every single street a run through so that people can get out and get back to the grocery store and back to work. And we're just very fortunate to have a city full of thousands and thousands of awesome employees who do everything every day, from the big stuff that when it snows, all of a sudden we're like, yeah, who's driving the plows, to, picking up the trash, cleaning out our storm drains that get clogged with garbage before it gets to the river, and everything in between. So if you see somebody ever out wearing a vest or with a city logo on it, they don't often get thanked. Most of the people who reach out, certainly to the council office, but also who talk to folks who are mad about something or upset about something. And these are we have so many really good people who work really, really hard doing stuff that is behind the scenes that make it possible for this many people to live in an urban environment in ways that we don't see every day. And so if you see somebody in a city truck, if they're parks, if they're public works, whoever they are, just walk up and tell them thank you, because they're really are phenomenal people, and really super awesome when you get to know them. And they worked really hard in the 4th worst snowstorm in Denver history to really get the streets back in order as quickly as is possible, given that we live in such an interesting climate from a snow standpoint. Everybody thinks that we're like the Midwest, where once it snows, not people here, but everyone who I know who's not from here thinks that we take sleds with dogs to school because we live in Colorado and it snows all the time. But it's not like the Midwest. As the public works folks are often reminding me, we have more freeze thaw cycles than any other major city. And it just is a totally different infrastructure problem. It tears our roads up much quicker, but it also means that we're very lucky in that the sun melts the snow a lot. And so as taxpayers, you save a lot of money by us not having some of the intense snow equipment that cities like Chicago and Milwaukee, where it really, if you don't get it out of there, it will never melt, have. And when these really big storms come, they don't come that often, but it's a real stress on our staff and on our city resources to get it taken care of. And I think they did a really great job. So thank a city worker. Next time you see them, they're amazing and do all kinds of stuff for us every day. So anyway, with that, I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. Not everyone all at the same time, though.
Jillian, there is a question for you in the chat from Sharona about how Maria Empanada was featured and famous and is on the political radar. Do you have any idea how Kamala Harris ended up at Maria Empanada?
So the better question is not how did she end up at Maria Empanada, but why did none of us get invited? That's what I want to know. I mean, so yeah, I was actually in committee virtually today, and working from home since I didn't get back from plowing until 4 o'clock in the morning. I did not make it downtown, and I was on there, and my kids, or DPS was still on virtual day, and my kids came up and they're like, why is there a giant traffic jam on our block? And I went out and I thought it was like a funeral or something, because there were all these police cars going by, and I had no idea, but it was our vice president, Cruz, who was headed over to Maria and drove not right down my block, but right down the side street, and was driving right by, which my kids were definitely super starstruck. My daughter was like, that's the closest I've ever been to a famous person. She was literally half a block away in a car under special detail while my daughter was in her bedroom, but that she was very, very excited about. So yeah, super excited, but why did we not get an invite? You know, come on, should have been like hang out with District 7 peeps. I see Anita raising her hand. Maybe Anita got invited.
Oh, I didn't get invited, Joan. No, I think it's because she's been working a lot with the governor in the small businesses, and especially she works a lot with the Latino community and businesses. So I think that's the reason why she probably was able to host a vice president. It's who you know, and you know, obviously me and Jolan, you know, especially I feel bad for Jolan that he didn't get, you know, invited. I was like, it's in his district.
But Maria with her empanadas has connections. Remember that next time you go for empanadas, you know, she got connections.
I'm gonna have a picture with her and the VP and name it empanada after her, and you know, all that good stuff.
And if you have not had Maria's empanadas, they are amazing. And you can get them to go in like a 12 pack and get every different kind. And then there's like a secret code on the inside based on how it's wrapped. You can figure out what's inside each one. They're amazing, literally amazing. Any other questions?
I just want to point out, very importantly, if you are able to dine inside of Maria Empanada at some point, or when you feel comfortable, there's nothing like drinking wine out of a little ceramic penguin. That is another experience you can have at Maria Empanada.
I have eaten there before. I did not know about the penguin wine. I will have to check that out.
Jolan, it's a penguino, and you're gonna have to get one.
Is on top of my list here.
Now you know.
Now you know. Anita, was there anything else that I missed, or any upcoming stuff that we need to update?
If there's still individuals that live in the Ruby Hill area that is 60 plus, our office is working with Councilman Flynn's office that they are going to be holding, I think it's like bi-weekly clinics, just to make sure that we have, you know, individuals 60 and up get their vaccinations. You can always, you know, forward them to our office, and we'll make sure that they get an appointment. And it's going to be at All Saints, so it's just not too far away from Ruby Hill.
And then I see, I think, sorry, I'm trying to grab the document right now, but Sharona was asking about the Pollinator Garden. We just had a meeting with Parks, and they made a fancy flyer just about that with updates and contact information. So I'm gonna attempt to attach it into the chat, but if you can't get it that way, if it doesn't show up that way, then just shoot me an email and I'll send it over. But they're doing this new thing because there's so many projects going on that they're creating like these like full color one pagers with info, which is super helpful, because then when people ask about it, we actually have all the information in one place. So hybrid pickleball court with a tennis court at Godsman. Well, Anita, remind me, that's another one that they are resurfacing those courts, but what did they decide to do? Did they not decide the pickleball route?
Let me look that up real quick, and I can see.
I thought they were turning one of them into like a multi-use court, but I could be getting that mixed up. Sorry, what was that?
I think it's a basketball court and a tennis court.
Oh,
So
basketball.
but like there is a way that you can like stripe a tennis court, so you can also play pickleball. So like, I don't know if they could get some extra.
You're gonna have to educate me on what pickleball is, but I will pass along to Parks. We're having another CIP meeting with Parks in a couple weeks, and so I will pass on the request for extra striping and for all kosher dill pickles to be involved.
We will invite you, Jolan. I will say we play at Houston Lake Park all the time, and there are 4 courts there, and they're always full, and they always have like 2 to 3 groups waiting, and the tennis courts are like barely in use. Or there are people like me that play pickleball on the tennis courts. So it is.
We'll be sitting by the mailbox awaiting my invitation to the pickleball.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to work on this Pollinator Garden attachment. Anything else that I missed in the chat?
Just some props for Anita, as always. Yep. Props to Anita. Kathy said, because of you, she has her shot scheduled at All Saints. So thank you so
Yay.
much.
Anita literally saving lives.
That's right. All right, let's move forward because we have a presentation.
Thanks, everyone.
Sorry, I just found it. So brief project description. The project includes construction of concrete for 1 tennis court and 1 basketball court at Gobsman. So yeah, there was not a pickleball court there.
Okay, so we'll ask them why they are down on pickles over there and try and find out for you.
Yeah, but this drawing that I see kind of looks like there might be something smaller next to the basketball court. So yeah, I can send this over to you guys.
Thanks.
So that's
okay. That'd be awesome, Anita. And if you have more questions for Jolyn or Anita, put them in the chat and we'll make sure to get to them. Let's quickly go to, we have a presentation by Healthy Food for Denver's Kids Grant Funding, which is a really cool project. And they recorded a presentation for us. Jackie, would you like to start the presentation or would you like me to?
I am hoping to work on it. Apologies in advance if my computer freaks out again, at which point, Brandy, feel free to mute me and just take over. So I hope it doesn't do anything weird, but can someone confirm that they can see the presentation? Yep. Great. All right.
Hi there, my name is Lauren Howe, and I manage the Healthy Food for Denver's Kids Grant Program out of the Denver Department of Public Health and Environment. And I'm just going to speak briefly about this program and some upcoming funding opportunities. So just to give you some background, the Healthy Food for Denver's Kids initiative came up as a result of a citizen-initiated ballot measure that voters of 2018. So it created a sales and use tax increase, a very small one, about a penny on a $10 purchase, that's established a fund for healthy food and food-based education for Denver's youth. It adds up to about $11 million per year and will expire at the end of 2028. Funds are granted to local nonprofits, public schools in Denver, including Denver Public Schools as a district, and Denver city agencies through competitive grant-making processes. So just to provide some context around food access and food security in Denver and why Healthy Food for Kids can hopefully help. So prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, it was estimated that around 1 in 7 Denver kids was food insecure. As a result of COVID-19, it's now estimated that between 1/4 and 1/3 of the Denver population is now food insecure. At the same time, nearly 1 in 3 Denver youth has too much weight for health, and close to 1 in 4 does not eat enough fruits and vegetables each day. So we're really hoping that the Healthy Food for Kids program can help address some of these issues. So the funds should go mainly to low income and at-risk youth and provide year-round access to healthy food, such as grocery boxes, as well as meals and snacks. And the funding can also go towards hands-on food education. So that can be things like gardening, cooking, healthy eating, and can also be used for local food purchasing. So partnering with local Colorado farmers and ranchers to bring that food to folks in need. Funds should mainly benefit Denver and its residents since it is a Denver sales and use tax. So the Healthy Food for Denver's Kids Commission is made up of 13 individuals that set the funding priorities and make the funding decisions. So it includes city agency representatives. We have 2 members of City Council, Councilwomen Debbie Ortega and Jamie Torres. 4 residents of the city, and then 4 representatives of citywide organizations that have food programs. The commission is staffed by the Denver Department of Public Health and Environment, and we hold public monthly meetings on the 3rd Friday of the month from 9 to 11:30. We're currently holding those remotely on Zoom and provide Spanish interpretation at all of those commission meetings. So anyone is welcome to attend those. So to give you an overview of our activities in 2020, we partnered with 64 organizations and granted out close to $7 million. This equated to around 3.5 million meals that were distributed to youth and their families during COVID. This is just a snapshot. These are the 25 organizations that we started partnering with in 2020 and are continuing to work with this year. And they're really located all across the city and county of Denver, serving many neighborhoods. The programs are quite diverse, ranging from activities like school gardens and cooking classes to mobile food delivery, and really everything in between. So some of the funding opportunities that we have open right now. So we have micro grants available. These are for up to $10,000 and really looking at issues in the priority areas of food storage. So that could be like refrigerators or freezers to hold more food. Delivery, so we recognize that not all youth and their families can go to sites to pick up food, but programs that bring food to where youth are at, we're encouraging those. And we really want to be able to reach youth that have been most heavily impacted by COVID. And we're accepting those applications year round on a rolling basis, and the link is there. So our next big funding opportunity is set to open on March 15th, 2021. And that'll be open for about 6 weeks until April 26th. We're hosting an information session on Tuesday, March 30th from 12:30 to 2:30. And that will just go into the grant opportunity in more detail. Folks can ask questions on that call. And then we'll also have some grant writing best practices and tips for applying to this funding opportunity as well. Individuals can submit written questions to Healthy Food for Kids staff up until April 1st, and then we'll respond to all written questions and share those responses with everyone by April 5th. We're hoping to have these grant contracts finalized for an August 2021 start date. If they need that service. So a little bit of information about the organizational eligibility. So to apply for Healthy Food for Kids funds, organizations have to be one of the following: either a nonprofit, a public school in Denver or DPS, or an agency of local government. Additionally, organizations need to conduct a majority of their activities within Denver and mainly benefit Denver residents. They need to serve youth, have 12 months of operations, and then an annual operating budget of at least $200,000. If an organization is not eligible under these requirements, we really encourage partnerships with larger or more well-established lead organizations. So a little bit more on organizational eligibility. Nonprofits have to meet this primary purpose requirement. So more than 50% of a nonprofit's overall programs or services have to go towards one of the following. So providing healthy food to youth, food-based education, or buying local food. Agencies of local government or public schools, on the other hand, are eligible to apply if they have programs that are related to A, B, or C, even if it's just one program. So I will share that Healthy Food for Kids is currently undergoing an ordinance change process. And if it is approved by City Council, then that would remove that primary purpose language and really allow any nonprofit that's providing food or food education to youth to be able to apply, even if it's just a single program or a small part of what they do. So we'll definitely keep everyone posted if and when that ordinance change process is approved. So a little bit more information about this particular grant opportunity. Organizations can request between $100,000 and $1.5 million. To give you an idea, in 2020, we funded approximately 80% of the eligible applications that we received, and the average grant size was around $250,000. In 2021, we anticipate collecting close to $12 million, and we hope to disperse around that much this year. These funding requests are for a one-year grant term, and organizations have the potential to apply for 2 additional years after that with a renewal application. More information about the program requirements for this grant. So Healthy Food for Kids asks that organizations show a strong commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion across their organizational work, as well as the particular program they're applying for funds for. Foods purchased with Healthy Food for Kids funding should be healthy, and we have guidelines for that, as well as the food should be culturally relevant. Any activities that we fund have to take place in Denver and serve youth who are Denver residents, primarily benefiting low-income youth. And Healthy Food for Kids defines youth as age 18 and under. And then there are your typical grant reporting and program priority areas. So in addition to healthy food access and food education, we're also prioritizing reaching youth under the age of 5 in early childhood education and childcare settings. We'd like to increase participation and best practices in federal or state nutrition assistance programs. So that might include increasing enrollment in SNAP or WIC, or connecting more sites to summer meals, as well as partnerships and collaboration and local food procurement. These are the different application components that will be required. These will all be up on our website, so I won't go into this in too much detail. But we do have an eligibility form that we ask organizations to fill out before they do the full application, and that'll help us work with the organization to determine if they're eligible to apply before they take the time to fill it out. These are some frequently asked questions, and I won't go into these into too much detail, but basically it has instructions for how to calculate if your organization meets that primary purpose requirement. We do encourage partnerships and subcontractors, and those subcontractors on a grant do not need to meet those eligibility requirements. So an organization could partner with a for-profit or any type of organization on the program. And then lastly, organizations don't have to be physically based in Denver to apply, but again, more than 50% of everything they do should take place in Denver and mainly serve Denver residents. So this is information to follow up with us. So the best way to find out about upcoming funding opportunities is to sign up for our email newsletter. There's a link there to sign up for that, as well as a link to our website with more details about the available funding. And then there's contact information for myself, as well as my colleague Paige, who's the Healthy Food for Kids contract administrator. So I'm happy to take any questions if you feel free to just send me an email. And we hope to see applications from folks in your community. Thank you so much.
Good deal. And again, if you guys have questions and you want to put them in the chat, that works too, but we'll certainly, that was Lauren Howe that gave the presentation. I probably failed to mention that, but we can certainly put her email address in the chat too. With that, does anyone have any verbal questions they want to ask that I can take down in terms of that presentation? Awesome. Okay, well, we have a wonderful finale for our meeting. We have the wonderful Sharona and the fantastic Dawn are here to present about the Ruby Hill Community Garden. So take it away.
Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Good.
Yep,
Okay,
we can hear you and see you. It looks great.
great. Okay, so whoops, whoa, back up. So welcome to the community garden. We have a bunch of gardeners here in our group, but I'm also tailoring this to people who've never been exposed to the Ruby Hill Community Garden. We were part of the master plan in, hold on one second, let me move this thing. There we go. You can see here, this is an aerial shot of the Ruby Hill Park, and we have a community garden here at the west side near Mexico Avenue, and we are very lucky because the Levitt Pavilion has been built too. So often we are gardening and listening to music at the same time. How lucky are we? So we've been carrying out the vision and materializing that into, whoop, hold on one second. Why can't I move? Ah, there we go. And actually bringing this vision into life. And so here we have the schematic design. The garden was actually built in concentric circles, and we have about 58 plots. And to the right, you can see at the very beginning what the garden looked like. And we do have some people who've been here from the very beginning. I think Brandy Moe, yeah, she was actually one of our community garden leaders in 2012, which was the first year we started gardening. And let's see, I can't see everybody. I know Jackie has been a gardener for how many years now?
I am going into my 5th year at the garden.
Whoa, all right. And Ken and Megan have been part of the community garden. How many years have you did it? Have you done it? Are you still doing it?
Well, we did it 2 years in a row, I think, and haven't since.
Yep, yeah, and you guys have big gardens at your house too. And Don has been there for how many years now? He's one of our community garden leaders. Well, can't hear you, Don.
You're on mute.
Oh, still on mute, Don. There you
Yeah,
go.
5 or 6, I think. I don't know.
5 or 6. So I can't see everybody, but if you're welcome to introduce yourself, say how long you've been there. But if for new people, we have plenty of plots, and I'll get to that in a second. I wanted to show you what we've created over the years since 2012. You know, from this grassy little spot at the top of the hill to a beautiful garden paradise. And in September, it is just crazy how full it is, especially with sunflowers. And, you know, we were really fortunate to get a grant from the Colorado Active Living Coalition. And Don actually put some new borders in some of our gardens, you can see here. And we actually just applied for another grant through them, 2 of them actually, for more borders, but also to create a pergola over by the shed so that we have a permanent shaded space that we can meet under and have potlucks and workshops and trainings and just come on over and have lunch. So here's some beautiful shots of some of the fruits of our labor. You know, what's really cool is we have some gardeners who are from East Africa that have brought seeds all the way here and are growing amaranth. You can see at the bottom right-hand side, which they eat the leaves and put them in peanut sauce. And so there's some really beautiful exchanges of ideas and recipes. I learned how to make calabacita last year, which is zucchini and onion and cheese. And so not only do we grow stuff, we also grow community. And we have been, again, together since 2012. And so we are on our 9th year. I think we should have like a really big celebration next year for our 10 years at Ruby Hill Community Garden. And even if you're not gardening with us right now, this year, it would be really fun to bring in all the alumni and have a big potluck and bring in our produce and eat it together. And so we've had you know, it's a community. There's an amazing culture there. Last year with COVID, it was challenging, but we made it work. You know, people came in, social distance, wore masks. We'll probably have to do that a little bit more this year, but it was quite a refuge for people to get out of their house and be outside and be in the soil. And, you know, there's been studies that it actually can help bring up morale and help with depression. And so the garden has been such an amazing incubator for Ruby Hill in our community, and so many people in the garden also part of the Ruby Hill organization, neighborhood organization. And we just, I know we're going to have a lot of plots coming up soon, because we were participating with the CAPS program, which was a 3-year study to see how community gardening could actually build health benefits and reduce the risk of cancer. And we'll be getting the results from that study soon, but there'll be a bunch of plots opening up. And so membership fees are $60. $35 of that will go to the garden, and $25 will go to Denver Urban Gardens for their overhead. And whoops, I forgot me on there. Some scholarships are available, so we don't want to turn anyone away. So there's a lot of benefits that come with being a member at the garden. You get a garden plot. Yeah, I would say, you know, the average size is about 12 by 10. You get compost. Here's an example. Every year for the last 8 years, we've seen this dumpster dumps compost. And so every plot gets compost. You'll have water throughout the season, tools. We often get a lot of seeds donated, and there's more coming this year from Denver Urban Gardens. We've got a lot of great gardeners with experience in passing on tips. We've got a Facebook page that we post articles on. We have a pollinator garden, a culinary herb garden, a medicinal herb garden, and communal raspberries around the perimeters, which we also share with the neighbors as they pass by. We got some interesting news a couple days ago that we might be working in partnership with the Denver Permaculture Guild, and that they could do their classes at the garden from July to September, and, you know, meet in the trees on the side, but also help with some of the larger projects that we want to do, and help with the pollinator garden over at Sanderson Gulch too. So that will be a really fun possibility, and to help expose some of our neighbors to permaculture as well. And so we've got plots available, people. Yes, we do. And so here is our phone number that will go to Doug, and they'll direct you to where you need to go, waiting list. We've got an email and account, and Don is Don, are you getting any bites out there from the community?
We've got 4 or 5 so far.
Okay.
That
New
that are
people?
on the list. So
Yep.
we've got plenty more plots. So
Yeah. It is a really fun place, and it's such a beautiful reflection of our neighborhood. You know, there's many different languages that are spoken there, and it's really fun to see how people can interact with each other and translate for each other and learn from each other. And so I just think it's an incredible hub and a gift that Denver Urban Gardens gave to our neighborhood, and I hope to keep it thriving and producing community and food. So that's my spiel. Any questions? All right. So if you, this is also on our Facebook page, the contact information. You can go to Denver Urban Gardens website too, and they can direct you to us. And I think the neighborhood association, if you're able to put this on the website, that would be really great as well. And then people know how to get a hold of us.
Absolutely, Sharona. Both you and Don, thank you so much for this presentation. It's, as I look out, I'm looking out my window out to Ruby Hill Park right now, and it's just covered in snow. And it's just so exciting to think about what the park looks like in the summer, especially this garden. It is such a special place. Jason and I have been gardening there since 2012, and it's just, yeah, it is such a benefit to our neighborhood. So
Absolutely.
tell your friends and family. There's plots available, and it's a really great place to grow food, but just grow flowers, grow whatever the heck you want,
Yes.
you know.
We support pollinators, and we love having all ages there. We've had little kids grow up with us and explore worms, and we love seniors. We have gardens that are a little higher up that could be available for people who can't bend as well. We want it to be able to serve everybody. So okay, well, I'll go back to you all. I've stopped the share, and thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And again, there's all kinds of different ways to reach out to the community garden, just via Sharona, via Dawn, via the Ruby Hill Community Garden Facebook page, the Ruby Hill Neighborhood Facebook page. So get a hold of somebody if you're interested in the plot, and it'll happen for you for sure. So thank you. And Jackie, with that, any last thoughts?
No, just that I feel like everyone on this recording is already pretty active on our social media platforms, but we do have some open positions on our leadership board, but in particular, looking for a leadership opportunity in regards to that website that Sharona just mentioned, and helping out with some communication. So if you haven't seen that post, Brandy posted about it on the Facebook page, but we are connecting those individuals who are potentially interested with our current a communication guru, amazing person who handles everything, Erica. We really, really appreciate everything she does, but she is doing some awesome things and needing to take a step back. So we are looking for some leadership opportunities. So if there is anyone who's interested, feel free to just reach out to you, even if you're like, maybe, I don't know. And we're definitely happy to geek out about the neighborhood. So happy to have those conversations. But other than that, no, I think this was a great informative meeting.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for everyone that presented and just sharing the love and the just all the good stuff about this neighborhood. So we're always so excited to see you every month, and we'll see you next month. The meetings are always the third Tuesday of the month at 6:30. So we're certainly gonna have another virtual meeting in April, but we are, fingers crossed, gonna try to do a safe meetup, maybe at the Levitt Pavilion, for our May meeting, if the weather works out. So just keep your eyes peeled. I don't even know. We'll communicate it out there for sure. So, but we really appreciate your time, and have a wonderful evening.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, Jackie, for all your hard work.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thanks, y'all.
All right, take care, everybody. Stay warm.